Chadwick Boseman, who played American icons such as Jackie Robinson and James Brown, died Friday of cancer. He was 43. Boseman died at his home in the Los Angeles area with his wife and family by his side. His publicist Nikki Fioravante told the Associated Press. Boseman was diagnosed with colon cancer 4 years ago, his family said in a statement. What is colorectal cancer? Colorectal cancer starts in the colon or rectum. These cancers can also be called colon cancer or rectal cancer depending on where they start. Colon cancer and rectal cancer are often grouped together because they have many features in common. In 2020, 12% of colorectal cancer cases will be diagnosed in people under 50, about 18,000 cases. Rates have been increasing since the mid-1980s in adults ages 20 to 39 years and since the mid-1990s in adults ages 40 to 54 years, with younger age groups experiencing the steepest increase. Rates of colorectal cancer cases and deaths vary among different racial and ethnic groups. Some of the differences are due to risk factors including smoking and excess body weight, as well as access to health care and colorectal cancer screening. There's a lot to unpack in the death of Chadwick Boseman. How private he was with what he was going through, which everyone is entitled to, and I certainly would want the same. How so many young people looked up to him, who he helped believe new realities were possible. Sometimes it seems silly what we do with celebrities, but the thing is that at their best, entertainers and entertainment inspire hope. They distract us a bit from our drudgery and help us return back to the grind with a bit more sense of purpose. On a bit more of a selfish level for me, there's also the fact that he was only 8 years older than I am now. And then all of this hits on the 57th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington. In the shadows of demands for racial justice and the stress that is this year, it's just a lot to process. Again, I want to run. I want to bury my head in the sand. I want to drive to the middle of the desert and just scream. I mean, this year has just been and seems so unfair, and it seems the unfairness continues. There are moments where I'm optimistic about the future and the dreams I hold, and then at my worst moments, even sometimes in the midst of recording this show or getting ready to exercise, I wonder why. Why bother? Why bother with any of it? The beautiful thing that comes with age and experience, though, is knowing that tomorrow is a different day. In the past, when I'd be afraid of feelings or symptoms lasting forever, I'd be too anxious to move. Now, I see my feelings and I say, all right, you get today. Tomorrow, I wake up and start again. And that's what I did on Saturday. I came out here and I sat in the studio for probably about 2 hours and I cried off and on. And I was supposed to meet my cousin at one point to go have dinner, and I thought that I was supposed to record an interview with Hillary, but I decided that the day would be better spent allowing myself to grieve, allowing myself to mourn, allowing myself to process. And I'm still processing. Last night, TBS, ABC, and a couple of other channels played Black Panther, and I told Eddie I can't watch it. And on ABC, they did a special with Robin Roberts, and it was still emotional to watch. If you're mourning or feeling a sense of loss, you're not alone. And what makes mourning in the time of COVID especially hard is that we can't do what we instinctually want to do, gather. This weekend, my bishop said a formal goodbye in remembrance to his father, who died way back in May. They planned the memorial for this month in hopes that we would be able to convene, and yet here we are. These are just strange times. Mr. Boseman inspires me of the kind of legacy I'd like to leave behind. He reminds me of the fears that I won't be able to accomplish what I want to do, of life snatching it out of reach. Living with a chronic illness or terminal illness forces you to reevaluate time. You know it's not infinite. There are some days, myself, I feel I can literally hear the seconds of time ticking away. And I work myself hard partly as a way to cope with the pandemic, but also out of fear that I'm losing precious time that's not guaranteed, that I don't have time to wait until next year. gratefully, that was the impetus that helped me get the Duchess made, and hopefully it will be the impetus that helps me raise the $400,000 needed to make the waltz. Mr. Boseman, I never met you, but you touched my life. From my first foray into film 9 years ago as an extra and hearing they were making a movie about Jackie Robinson, I felt electrified, and I wanted to more than just be an extra. Seeing you take on James Brown and then the King of Wakanda, to feel the tears I didn't know I was going to feel in seeing Black Panther, and what it represented on a level I can't even speak to. And all of that, doing, especially Black Panther, knowing your time was limited, and how you chose to give back with grace and dignity. Yeah. You bore the lightness of being that I can only hope to follow in your footsteps and pick up the torch to light the way just like you did. In the words of Wicked, I have been changed for good. You're an ancestor now, and I think we're all going to be calling on you a bit more these coming days, and I still can't quite figure out why it makes me so emotional, but there's just a lot to unpack there. You're an ancestor now.